are from Professor Nilima Bhagavati, representative CCEAM, and I welcome you all, one and all, first of all. And it's indeed a great pleasure for me. And in fact, I'm feeling so proud to see all my friends, all my core CCM members, sitting in front of me. I'm using that word, sitting in front of me. So I am delighted. Let me, first of all, welcome our president, a dynamic lady. She is always, the day I met her, I saw her in the same thing. She goes on moving very dynamically. So she is with us, and we'll be happy to hear her. And also she'll be giving a wonderful inaugural address today. We have with us, I welcome you, Dr. Heat. It is nice to see you all the time. We just keep on meeting virtually, but next time, I promise you, I'll make it physically to your place. I welcome Vanessa Fernandez. It's nice to see you. And I welcome you on behalf of everyone from CCEAM-India, all our members, new and old. Everybody is over there. And I think Manish has joined. Manish has come. No, he's yet to join. I welcome our own, member, because she is a speaker today. So I am also welcoming her to this going to be held, a very impactful symposium. We have all the good speakers today. And I welcome all those who have come from, hearing us from far off, from very far off, I should say, from throughout the country. And we are having, for your information, President Imam, we have members from the entire country, because we divided into north, south, east, west zone. So we have a huge, I think about nearly 200 members are here today, and participants are here, and they'll be enjoying. And we have a big chunk of youth population. That is what is very interesting, and that will be also very impactful. Our rapporteurs, our anchorer, they are all young minds, and they're ready to do whatever guidance they will get today in this symposium. And I'd like to just name one person who is behind the show. I think you should, Moshimi, you just give a bye-bye to all and namaskar, because she is the person who is doing all the technical works, giving us relief from the technical works, and round the clock she is working, and she is also a youth member of this organization. And we have many more with us. I can see several names in front of me. Anurag, Chainika, Akash, so many of you are here. I'm really feeling great to see you all. You all, filled up the form, registered, and you are coming today in time. And what I need more than that, to be happy. And I have been given very limited time, because, if I speak, it will go on and on. So on behalf of, again, CCEAM India, I heartily welcome you. And this is our beginning. Now, most of you already, the newly who have joined, do you know about CCEAM? Because in most of the meets and all these days, I was talking of CCEAM only and what we are doing. So therefore, what is happening, CCEAM now, we are under the leadership of, as I told you, our president dynamic. So a number of programs will be on the air, and also physically we'll be able to do. And that is to that. But another thing I will tell you, lots of innovative thoughts has also come to each and everyone's mind who are engaged, who are involved in this CCEAM. And we want to make a difference. We want to bring a difference. And that is our aim. And that difference, surely all of us will bring in this world. Friends, our mission, let me tell you very briefly about CCEAM, because rest of the information, you can get it in the website. Whether you want to know about the Constitution, whether you want to know about our journal, whether you know about the website, about the registration, about enrollment, everything is given very nicely in the website. So you can please collect all the informations. But let me just tell you, like our objectives are, as you know, all these days I'm telling you, administration, management, and leadership. What a wonderful three objectives we are just starting with. And this will continue, this mission will continue in all the Commonwealth countries. Friends, now one thing, this is an old organization, 1970. I think I am quite correct. President will correct me. 1970 was the beginning of this, and it is a professional organization, very much dedicated, and we have the best brains, the brilliant persons in it. So you can think that lots of ideas will come in future. Now, I want to just mention over here one thing for your information. CCEM India is in collaboration with Council for Teacher Education Foundation. Okay, it is the leading organization of the country, working for the teachers, working for the students community, and working for the parents community. These are the three poles of education. So we are providing the need-based, providing the training, the pedagogical part that we are looking after and training them along with academic leadership. Then we also have guidance and counseling for the teachers, training them, and as well as for the parents. And interestingly, this year, CTEF's Silver Jubilee year, it was established in, 2000. It was established in 2000, and we are running one full year, Silver Jubilee year. And this is the right time for us also, CCM, to get introduced to all of you and start working hands in hand. We have to do, because more or less, I was just telling some of my friends, our objectives are same. So we have to work. And coming to the end of it, if I make it longer, I'll take more time. Now, we have seen that during the time, like India, just few months back, the government of India took one mission, and that mission is named as Developed India, which is called in Hindi, Vikshit Bharat. So over there, three sections of the population are given importance so that they can be developed, empowered, and also they can contribute. And one is the youth, second one is the women, third one is zero poverty, to abolish poverty, and fourth one is the farmer. So this is the right time, very much need-based for us, both for CCEAM and also for CTF, the collaborating partner, to work on such important issues. So with this, I again welcome you, and again I thank you for your presence here virtually, and hope to make it a very impactful one. Thank you very much, and thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Nilima ma'am, for your incredible, warm and grounding welcome words to us and welcoming us to this symposium. Good afternoon all. I, Sapna Nayak, a research scholar of Mangalam University, and it's been a privilege for me to be an anchorer to this virtual symposium, which is organized by CCEAM, and I am also a member of CCEAM-India. I now want to introduce the chief guest, who is none other than the president of CCEAM. Your leadership inspires us, ma'am, for moving forward. It is now my distinct honor to introduce a stellar personality who graces us today as our chief guest. She is none other than the president of CCEAM-India, Professor Hawa Imam, ma'am. Her contributions to educational administrations and management globally is monumental. We are incredibly privileged to have her presence today. I formally welcome you, Professor Hawa Imam, ma'am, to share your valuable address with our global audience. Thank you, ma'am. Now the virtual mic is yours.
Thank you very much. I want to say good day, everyone, because we are in different time zone. And my address today is, I will just say, dear distinguished educational leaders present, members of the CCM family, my dear young leaders, and distinguished guests. It is both a privilege and a pleasure to join you today at this historical Medium Youth Leadership Virtual Symposium, From Potential to Purpose, Empowering the Next Generation of Leaders, organized by our Indian affiliate of the Commonwealth Council for Educational Administration and Management. On behalf of the global CCM family, I warmly congratulate the leadership of CCEAM-India for this visionary initiative. By creating a platform dedicated to youth leadership, you are investing not only in the future of education, but also in the future of our societies, our Commonwealth, and our shared community. Today's gathering is particularly significant because it reflects our collective belief that young people are not merely beneficiaries of educational systems, they are active partners in shaping a better world. Thus, across the Commonwealth and beyond, young people are leading change in their schools, communities, workplaces, and nations. They are championing innovations, advocating for justice, promoting sustainability, and inspiring hope in challenging times. The Commonwealth reminds of our shared commitment to democracy, human rights, tolerance, respect, understanding, and sustainable development. These values are not abstract ideals, they are principles that must guide the leadership journey of every young person represented here today and beyond. As educational leaders, we recognize that leadership is not defined by age, title, or position. Leadership is defined by vision, integrity, service, and the courage to act for the common good. It is about inspiring others, embracing change, and transforming lives. And it's also about building bridges across cultures and communities. That is why we have as our cardinal motto in the CCM, leading across nations. You know, this conference also aligns with the aspirations of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, in particular, Sustainable Development Goal 4, calls upon us to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. And education is the most powerful tool for transforming lives and empowering individuals so that they can contribute meaningfully to society. Also important is Sustainable Development Goal 17, which emphasizes partnerships as a foundation for sustainable progress. The very existence of this symposium demonstrates the power of collaboration, bringing together educators, researchers, practitioners, and policymakers, and young people from different areas to learn from one another and work towards shared goals. At the CCM, we have a global vision to promote excellence in educational leadership, administration, and management across the entire Commonwealth countries and beyond. We believe that effective leadership is essential for creating educational institutions that are inclusive, innovative, resilient, and responsive to the needs of the 21st century. However, in achieving this vision, we require the active engagement of our young people. The future of educational leadership depends on your creativity, your commitment, your energy, and your willingness to embrace lifelong learning. The world needs leaders who can navigate complexity, harness technology, responsibly build partnerships, and promote peace and social cohesion. To the young leaders participating in this conference, I encourage you to dream boldly, learn continuously, and lead ethically. Be curious, be courageous, be compassionate, seek opportunities to serve others and to make a positive difference wherever you find yourselves. Remember that leadership is not just about the loudest voice in the room. It is about listening and inspiring and creating opportunities for others to succeed. The challenges facing our world today stems from educational inequalities to climate change and technological disruption, particularly as we have witnessed during the era of the COVID era. And this requires leaders who are not only knowledgeable, but also empathetic and committed to common good. As you engage in the discussions and activities of this symposium, I encourage you to build networks, exchange ideas, and forge friendships that transcend beyond geographical boundaries. The relationship you establish today may become the partnership that shape tomorrow's solutions. I have known Professor Nilima for almost 2 decades, and we are still together and still strong. And we come from different countries. I come from Nigeria. I'm located presently in Abuja, and she's right there in India. But our friendship has continued over the time. So this is what is meant by creating partnership. Yes. It is my sincere hope that the deliberations of this symposium will inspire innovative thinking, strengthen international collaboration, and empower participants to become transformative leaders in education and society. With these remarks, and with great pride and optimism for the future, I hereby declare the Median CCEAM-India Youth Leadership Zoom Symposium officially open. And I wish you a successful and rewarding symposium. Thank you for your attention. I am Professor Hawa Imam, President, Commonwealth Council for Educational Administration and Management. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, immensely for your insights. You have truly set a phenomenal benchmark for our today's discourse. We are deeply grateful for your time and your guidance and your inspiring words. Before we transition into our eagerly awaited speaker session, a quick note to all our enthusiastic participants. As you listen to our highly resourceful speakers, if you have any questions or queries, you can write it down and hold on to them, or you can write them in the chat box. And when the interactive session will start, you can ask your queries in that interactive session. So let us move into the core speaker session of the symposium, featuring our 4 core resourceful speakers. I now invite our first resourceful speaker for the afternoon, Dr. Vanessa Fernandez, ma'am. We are eager to learn from your insights. As we all know, she is Youth Leadership Chair of CCEAM. She is Senior Lecturer in Educational Leadership Studies at Monash University, expert in school improvement, leadership, data-informed decision-making, and social justice in education. Works internationally as an educational consultant. Ma'am, now the platform is yours.
Thank you so much for that. And good evening, everyone from Australia here. It's 10 minutes to 7 down here right now. So I'm just going to share my screen. So please bear with me. Can you see the slides, or can you see the notes of the slides as well? Just the slides?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we are
right.
We can see both. We can see both.
You can see both the slides and the write-up as well, or just the slides?
Only the slides.
Thank you for that, Heath. Thanks.
But there is a write-up on the slide.
Only the text, not the actual speaker notes.
All right, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for that. Well, I thought as I was preparing for this keynote presentation, I was thinking about what would be something really good to talk about as we gather here together. And of course, I represent the Youth Leadership Development Initiative that we're running through CCEM. And I thought, what better than talking about what's currently happening in India itself. Now, as I was researching the topic, there were lots of interesting things that I found, and I hope that today's presentation is something that you can take back and think about, the potential, what's already being offered, and what can be done in the future. So as you see on the slide out here, today's topic is about India's youth leadership moment. There's a prime time for youth leadership development in India, and that's what we're going to unpack in this session. India is currently experiencing a significant demographic moment with 382 million young people shaping its social and economic future. This presents for India a unique and time-sensitive opportunity for youth leadership development. So it's had the biggest amount of youth currently in the world resides in India. However, there are some urgent structural gaps that need to be addressed. And alongside those gaps, there are some emerging models and practices that are already demonstrating effectiveness in nurturing this youth leadership potential. So with this 382 million individuals, they are aged between 10 and 24. And this demographic advantage that India has is called a youth bulge, projected to continue until 2030. So we don't have that many years to really get the ball rolling. And this represents a limited window of opportunity. Harnessing this potential could contribute up to $1 trillion to India's GDP by 2030. But this outcome doesn't just happen by magic. Realizing the economic dividend depends on ensuring young people are well-skilled, healthy, and supported by focused investments. A significant proportion of unemployed people, 65.7% to be exact, now have secondary or higher qualifications, which have doubled since 2000. So in wanting to attain quality education through the Sustainable Development Goals, India has really reached a high target where 65.7% of its youth, even though they're unemployed, they do have the educational qualifications. However, only half of the graduates possess the employment skills required by the job market, leaving 1 in 2 graduates effectively unemployable. And so this is a really important point to note. The employment skills is a space where development can be done and targeted. This also highlights that the core issue is not access to education, but rather the misalignment between educational outcomes and labor market needs. And addressing the skills and jobs mismatch is crucial for improving youth employability. And so I would like to leave those statistics with those sitting in our audience today who are working in the space of youth leadership to see the opportunity to develop employability skills amongst young people. Nearly half of young women are classified as NEET. This stands for not in education, employment, or training. And this is compared to less than 10% of the young men. 95% of all NEET young youth are women, highlighting a significant gender disparity. Again, I'd ask the audience to note that this is a huge amount of that youth bulge, which in about 10 years' time will be in the adult space where they are women who do not have those qualifications or skills. And this reflects a broader pattern of systemic exclusion from civic participation and leadership opportunities for young women. And so an encouragement that while we're thinking about employability skills and its development amongst the youth of India, we also need to have targeted opportunities for young women across India and all its jurisdictions. A national mental health survey of India revealed a significant treatment gap with 84.5% of diagnosed cases left untreated. This alarming figure highlights the urgent need to address barriers to mental health care. However, evidence indicates that civic engagement programs can actually positively impact mental health by reducing anxiety, increasing resilience, and fostering leadership skills. Encouraging this youth participation and agency is therefore crucial to improving well-being outcomes and closing this gap. So we've already spoken about two other areas where we can think about development, which is employability skills and looking at a gender perspective. And now the third area is looking at civic engagement programs that help to address the mental health challenges. So ways in which we can think about helping our youth to participate with agency and with active participation will address some of this issue. There are 4 barriers that make youth leadership a necessity in India. And let's talk about each of these barriers. Firstly, there is a significant skills employment mismatch, with 83% of India's unemployed being youth, and only about half of those graduates considered job ready. Secondly, there's a gender inequality that persists, as nearly half of young women are not educated in education and the employment or training that is required as compared to under 10% of young men. Thirdly, a mental health crisis affects millions with an 84.5% treatment gap, leaving many without support during critical development years. And finally, youth participation in democratic processes remains insufficient, with young voices largely excluded from research, governance, and formal political avenues. So these 4 structural issues, if they can be addressed till we reach 2030, there will be a huge turnaround of the progress that India can make on the youth front. Let's come to policy. The National Youth Policy of 2025 signifies a shift from passive, welfare-oriented youth programs to active, agency-centered leadership development. It introduces mechanisms such as the Personal Youth Engagement Score to measure participation of youth, the Mera Yuva Bharat digital platform to connect and engage youth, and structured leadership pathways to guide development. This draft policy aligns youth participation with clear agency, systematic measurement, and defined routes to leadership roles. And I'd encourage those in the audience to definitely have a look at this policy document and see some of the recommendations that are being given in there. Introducing the 3 that were highlighted in the previous slide, the Mera Yuva Bharat has successfully registered 20 million youth aged 15 to 29 within just 2 years. So you can see the impact of when these platforms are out there, how young people are ready to jump on board. This government platform operates at scale through over 120,000 partner organizations across multiple sectors, including education, health, environment, and governance. And it provides diverse opportunities such as experiential learning, volunteering, mentoring, and skill-building pathways, effectively converting youth engagement now into a visible leadership infrastructure. So that's very exciting. The next big initiative, which has been going on for 15 years, is the Teach for India Positions. Its fellowship is a 2-year full-time leadership experience rather than merely a teaching role. So those who are involved in this, they not only have a fellowship that's 2 years in length, giving them adequate experience, job experience, but it also teaches them both leadership and teaching skills. So with over 15 years being in operation, the program has trained to date 5,500 fellows who have each reached between 40 to 80 students per cohort. And importantly, beyond classroom instruction, these alumni advance into impactful roles such as social entrepreneurs, policy advocates, and leaders within international organizations like the UNICEF. This model creates a documented pipeline that transitions participants from frontline service to broader civic and systemic leadership. The JIAH trial has involved 3,324 adolescent girls across 38 clusters in Jharkhand using a cluster randomized controlled design. And while the primary outcome showed no statistically significant improvement, largely due to pandemic-related disruptions, there was an important secondary set of outcomes that were observed. Notably, girls were 3 times more likely to access school entitlements if they were present, and boys comprised 40% of participants despite the prevailing regional gender norms. So they could see that there was an active uptake of girls if those school entitlements were available. And this trial provides peer-reviewed evidence from rural Eastern India that can be used for forecasting leadership development needs in other rural parts of India where girls are severely disadvantaged. In addition to this, the youth advisory boards have embedded themselves within research institutions, and these transform young people from passive study subjects into active decision makers. And so the incorporation of youth advisory boards in universities or other research institutions where young people are a part of how research is designed, how it's written up, how policies are formed, is also transforming India at its front line. The Project Summer Mental Health Initiative at NIMHANS in Bengaluru represents the first peer-reviewed
voice went off. Hello.
And because of some network issue, I think
Problem.
ma'am left.
We just wait a second. We just wait a bit. And there's some disturbance also from the participants' end. Somebody has not muted their
No, I have muted,
video.
ma'am. All the participants, those who are
Yeah, please do, because she was disturbed a little. She mentioned that also.
The issue is actually.
Mostly she has not rejoined.
Not
she
yet.
has not joined it.
Yeah, I cannot see her. I think we can wait for some time.
Not joining.
Or it was, I think,
We just wait for another minute or two. Another minute.
yeah, but I can't see her also. That's what I'm thinking.
Mm.
But she was about to be finished also, almost.
Yeah. She was wrapping up. She was wrapping up from her presentation. It seems like.
I have just spoken to her. She's coming back in a second. Her computer was
Okay. No. Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, President.
We can one thing, like later on also, whatever is left, then she can continue when she comes.
No, ma'am. No, the president has connected with her and she'll be joining. There was some problem with her computer.
Nice. Good.
She's joined. Madam is joined.
Network.
Ma'am has joined.
Apologies for that. My computer
It's
died,
okay.
so I had to get it started again.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start from where I stopped, and apologies once again, guys. The project SAMA Mental Health Initiative at NIMHANS in Bengaluru represents the first peer-reviewed documentation demonstrating structured youth leadership in Indian research, and that leaves a good example for all of us who are working in research to include youth advisory boards in our design when we are working on youth leadership research across any jurisdiction. Because this approach places youth in governance roles rather than merely in consultative positions, and it highlights its feasibility, effectiveness, and potential for scalability across research institutions. Likewise, the National Service Scheme, or NSS, engages millions of youth annually through higher education institutions, providing a broad platform for youth participation. Complementing this, the Nehru Yuva Kendra Sangathan, established in 1972, represents India's largest rural youth engagement network, connecting rural youth to national initiatives. Together, these legacy systems form the foundational infrastructure that enables the National Youth Policy of 2025 to actually actively translate its volunteer engagement goals into large-scale practical implementation across both urban and rural contexts. And this institutional backbone ensures that youth policy is effectively transformed into meaningful participation. Bal Panchayats demonstrate meaningful youth involvement in democratic governance at the community level. In Maharashtra, these councils have led to tangible improvements such as better sanitary facilities, enhanced recreational infrastructure, and successful peer-led campaigns reducing alcohol abuse. Importantly, children's participation has been formally integrated into Gram Panchayat development planning, ensuring their voices influence local policy. This model has been adopted across several states, including Maharashtra, Odisha, Karnataka, Assam, Rajasthan, Sikkim, and Telangana. Youth climate leadership is expanding significantly with 30 YUWA UNICEF climate champions selected annually to serve as grassroots advocates. Through the YUWA initiative, 58 million young people have been empowered as change makers, and 15 million are gaining access to aspirational economic opportunities. So notably, LCOY India in 2024 engaged over 1,800 young participants whose national youth climate statement was presented at the COP28, underscoring the growing influence of youth in the global climate movement, and particularly the strong representation of Indian youth. By the end of 2024, over 2,600 youth-led social innovation teams have been created or enhanced through the Youth Core Lab India, impacting more than 19,000 people via national innovation dialogues. These initiatives include agricultural fintech for marginal farmers, solutions tailored for indigenous and tribal communities, and advancements in assistive technology. Likewise, the Springboard program acts as a critical support pathway, providing skills, training, government connectivity, and investor linkages to transform community challenges into scalable ventures led by youth. The SBI Youth for India Fellowship is a 13-month rural immersion program that transforms urban educated youth into community accountable development practitioners. Participants, typically aged 21 to 32, engage deeply with local communities, working alongside NGOs, panchayats, and residents on key issues such as education, livelihoods, health, water, and natural resource management. This program has proven effective with 70% of alumni entering the development sector and over 50 founding their own organizations, demonstrating a strong pipeline of rural-rooted youth leaders. The democratic participation gap is striking, with less than 1.5% of Lok Sabha MPs under the age of 30 and 60% of urban youth having never been involved in civic activities or local governance processes. To address this, the Youth for Governance Fellowship has been providing training to college-educated youth in public policy, participatory research, local governance, and civic advocacy. This initiative is led by the Grassroots Research and Advocacy Movement, or GRAM, in partnership with the Hans Siegel Foundation, and has launched itself in Mysuru in April 2025. In January 2025, the Viksit Bharat Young Leaders Dialogue convened at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi, bringing together 3,000 youth selected from 3 distinct cohorts. These included MY Bharat innovators, talents from district and state festivals, and standout entrepreneurs and technologists. The core objective of this initiative is to connect local insights with a broader national development vision, fostering dialogue that can influence policy and drive progress across India. India has several credible community-based youth leadership models, some of which I've presented to you today. Each are effective within its specific domain, such as governance or climate action, or innovation or immersion or policy training. However, these models tend to operate independently, almost in silos, resulting in a fragmented ecosystem despite sharing a common purpose of developing the young people for tomorrow's world. In order to achieve collective impact at scale, what is required at the moment between 2026 to 2030 is greater coordination and fidelity across these active pathways. Research by Mendes and colleagues in 2025 reviewed 18 studies conducted between 2018 and 2023, demonstrating that civic engagement programs consistently improve mental health outcomes among youth, and participation in these programs fosters a sense of belonging, agency, and leadership skills, which aligns closely with India's youth-led leadership agenda as given in its Youth Policy 2025. Observed benefits include reduced anxiety and sadness, increased resilience and empowerment, and enhanced leadership, communication, and problem-solving capabilities. This evidence positions youth leadership development as not just an educational aim anymore, but as a critical health and resilience intervention that needs action as of today, if not sooner. The current initiatives have proven effective, as I've given you all the stats and figures on it, but the focus now must shift towards disciplined expansion. We need to scale by moving beyond pilot programs and fragmented outreach and equally maintain fidelity. That means replicating successful models while respecting and preserving community context, especially the diversity of India's community context. Finally, prioritizing equity is essential, ensuring that young women, tribal communities, and rural or peri-urban youth who remain systematically excluded are brought in and placed at the center of this expansion. India's demographic advantage is characterized by a large working age population that is expected to end by 2030. This provides a critical time window for strategic investments. By empowering today's youth with leadership opportunities and skills, India can build the national capacity required for sustained development in the coming decade. The choices made now will decisively influence the country's economic and social trajectory. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present just a small snapshot of what is possible in India and the urgency and the current effective practices that are in place for developing this youth leadership development.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for a brilliant presentation, words and insights, and those quotes which are in the end of every presentation. Those are so inspiring and so concluding. Moving forward, it is my pleasure to welcome our second speaker, Dr. Heathcliff Shembri, sir, CCEAM Managing Coordinator. And he is a senior lecturer at the Malta College of Arts, Science and Technology, specializing in primary education, inclusive pedagogy, and educational research. Over 15 years of experiences, he supports education leadership and reform across globe. We look forward to your perspectives. The platform is now yours, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning to me and good evening to Dr. Vanessa. So I shall be sharing the screen as well. I'm quite in awe because I've heard a lot of good practices, and there are also things that we have heard which will make us think also about the potential where we can go. I'm about to share my screen. Can you confirm that you can see my screen in full, like as a full screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So today what I'll be doing is sort of I would like to share with you a bit of my experience. I am not a youth, I think. 39 doesn't classify me as youth, maybe. In the EU, in some programs it is. What I would like to share with you is my presentation today. I decided to name it From Voice to Purpose, because by giving a voice to the youth, we're doing only one step. We also need to support youth into changing that voice into a purpose. So I am going to share some reflections. I am not here to teach you. I just want to share with you some views about what a youth leader looks like in times where the world seems to be changing, and changing at a speed where sometimes it doesn't even give us time to reflect. Briefly about what we do, I joined a year and a half ago. We're still going through changes, but it is technically an international network where it is not only for those in the leadership sphere who are seasoned. We also want to, that through collaboration, through the dialogue, we also support the future generations. So it is not only the council, or we are a community. This council, this community is not only for those who are established. We are also invested and interested in supporting people who are new to the leadership, to the management, people who are aspiring. Because without the younger people, we would not move forward, let's say. So I live in Malta. Malta is a small, tiny island. It's a country. It's independent. It was a colony, and it is situated right below Italy. So I live on an island, very, very small. The population is about 550K, so it's quite small. These are a bit of photos. So Malta is predominantly surrounded by the sea. There's a lot of British influence. the housing, the schooling system, the mindset, the taxation. We are very British, or we have a lot of British remnants, let's say. So this is what my everyday looks like, the churches. And so I work at MCAST. MCAST is a college, is a quite new. We are just going to turn 25. And it is a vocational educational college, which has grew. And we offer programs from certificates to doctorates. And I am in charge, so I am the coordinator, the head of the institute, let's say, where we provide bachelor's programs in early childhood, inclusion, primary, vocational, etc. Now, Malta is characterized as an island, so the picture in the middle represents a lot how sometimes we feel. It is an island split by politics. So the island is somehow split into half. We had elections last Saturday, and the country was split. And sometimes you feel like you have to shout to be heard. In a world where there are the bigger countries, there's India, Japan, Germany, America, Australia, Canada. Sometimes we have to shout a bit to be heard. I've been to India in 2017. Basically, I've been there for 5 weeks, out of which I went on a volunteering experience in a school in Gaya, in Bodh Gaya. But before I took this train, the one on the left, it was a 26-hour train. I left from Rajasthan. So first I went to Udaipur, to Jaipur, to Agra, which are more of the touristy places. And then I took this train on my own, a bit petrified, and I went to an amazing place called Varanasi, which was a very interesting space for me to be there, given that I'm coming from a different background, religion, race. So yeah. So Malta and India, there are diversities, the contexts are different, but the leadership realities might be very similar. So while Malta is very, very small, India is quite large, is very large and diverse. So even while I was I was on that train and I was looking outside and I slept and I'm up again and I continued the journey, the landscape was changing, the people were looking different, the buildings were looking different, the experience was different. So for me, I can cross the whole of Malta in 30 minutes by in a car, maybe 45. India took me a long time. As for the education, Malta is very centralized. There's one ministry, one government, everything is dictated. From the research and from what we've heard, you have a very multiple, or let's say dispersed system. You have the north and the south and the east, and as Professor Bhagati explained, to bring everyone together is a precious moment. Malta is quite close-knit. We all know each other. It might be that in a country like yours, where there is a large scale, it might be difficult, or it might be more challenging to forge a community, maybe. We are both post-colonial. We are both going through rapid reforms, which brings me to my next slide. I would like to share a bit of reflections, because you are all in leadership or aspiring to be, this idea of the leadership crisis that few people talk about. So globally, I am not saying in Europe or in India or in America or in Canada, globally, there's a lot of concern. My institute, students in my institute, we have about 1,800. So lecturers, we are about 43, And I am in the corridors meeting the students, meeting the student councils, and there's a lot of fear of failure. There's a lot of anxiety about the future. What is going to happen to me? There's a lot of pressure to succeed, but the pressure to succeed is very quick, as in to succeed in a quick way. Sort of, you have to be successful very quick, because if you're successful in your job, in your family, with your house, with your siblings or whatever, then it seems like you're like a better fit to be a good leader. There's a lot of comparison. We have a society, we are living on socials, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn. And although this is all very good and beautiful to connect with people, it feels a bit like a comparison. So there's this feeling of not being good enough. So with all these pressures, how do we become leaders? Sort of, how do you grow? You grow through the mistakes. You grow through the reflection, having space for you to think about things. You grow through the resilience. You are not perfect, and you might be working with people who are not exactly your cup of tea or whatever, and you still strive. You grow by learning, and you grow by being courageous, because sort of being confident doesn't come easy, or not all the leaders are. So true leadership is what you build through the confidence. So today's youth are faced with a lot of challenges. AI, it is taking over. It is here. We are introducing it in our schools, in our education system. There's artificial intelligence on the internet, on the way we buy things, on the reviews that we read. It's here. And youth are faced with it. There's a lot of anxiety about climate. What is going to happen from the world? Now, I live on a country in a country which is an island. We also have a lot of anxiety here about what is going to happen because of the sea level, because of deforestation, etc., etc. The information overload, that is also challenging. How much can I learn? How much can I take? Everyone is telling me everything. How much information can I take as a youth and eventually to become a youth leader? Because what we want is for the leaders to be able to support the youth eventually. Mental health, there's so much pressure. Economic uncertainty. There are people, the rich seems to be getting richer, and those who are not as comfortable seem to be becoming more. So there is a disparity there. And the rapid social sort of the changes. We heard now about gender, about misalignment. So there's a lot of social change which is going on. Yet the youth are expected to be more connected globally, to be more socially aware, to be more empowered in a digital, world. They are told to have a voice. So the challenge is not just preparing young people for the future, but it is preparing the future for them. It is not just preparing the person. Just like a young child, the concept of schoolification. Do you prepare the young child for school, or do you prepare the school for the child? It's a bit like this. It is a bit like this. So I just wanted to share with you some thoughts. I just finished a doctorate a year and a half ago now, and I I researched the revolution that was happening in Malta. We were promised a new curriculum, and I was very intrigued by this. And before this role, I was a teacher in a school, primary school, for 10 years. And after that, I was an head of an HOD, we call it, so a head of a department for the syllabi in Malta. And I was always caught because a revolution is a big word. I was in my school hall when the person from the ministry came and said, "We are going to have a revolution in the way we teach." And I remember very well, I was a teacher, I was in the school hall, I was thinking about my students, and I have to prepare this, and I have to correct and mark. And this man was talking about the revolution. And the revolution is a very big word because it also implies negative connotations. Now, I am not here to talk to you about my study because that's beside the point. I'm here to talk to you about what I learned from the leaders involved in the study. So I was a teacher. I was hearing my colleagues. They were frustrated. I was looking at my students. They were telling me their stories. And I was working through different schools eventually with many teachers learning about the syllabus. And I'm talking about the positionality because as a leader, you also need to be aware of your positionality, where you stand, what makes you a leader, what are the moments which are shaping you. Because, I mean, we can all be leaders, but we also have to be aware of what constitutes us. So I was becoming a leader while I was a teacher. I started the doctorate while I was a teacher. So I felt that in my classroom, in my school, I wanted to bring about a change. My study was about educational change, how the leaders experience this. So I was curious about the human side of the change. So I did the questionnaires with the leaders, with the teachers. I did the interview with the minister, with the ministry officials, with the leaders of curriculum, because I wanted to learn. And this is one moment from my data collection which changed my thinking. This was a head of school of a primary school. And the head of school told me, people do not resist change because it is new. Because this revolution, basically, they were promising a new way how to teach. So the syllabi are new, the learning outcomes are new. It was a complete change. And this head of school told me, people do not resist change because it is new. Sometimes we resist change because we feel unheard. And it is quite a heavy quote. I have a lot of quotes, but this is the one that I wanted to share. So technically, what the person is trying to explain to me is not the reform. It's how the reform shuts me up. So when we talk about leadership, because leadership is not management. Management is a role. You can apply to be a manager, a manager in a hotel, in a school, a manager. But a leadership is a title which is given to you by your followers. You do not apply to become a leader. It's a title which the others give you. And it is not just a title about authority. You are in power. Or visibility. You are the most popular head. You are the most liked on Facebook. The one who is the most popular in the district. It is not about the status. We might think that it is. It is very important to respect the status, that for sure. But it is not only about that. It's not only about the position. It is also about listening. Like, I am very excited to be here today. I mean, it's a Saturday. It's been a long week. We all have been to work, you know? But it's beautiful that we have a space where we can listen and share. And it's beautiful because it is not only about being the manager or the president or the youth leader, the governor. It's not only that. It's about sharing. So, I think I said the part in the beginning, but I would like to move to these three parts. So what we want are not the perfect leaders. I am not sure what India expects from the leaders, but we are not only about perfect, because being perfect is inhuman. It is about being authentic, that people look at you and think, oh, that person made me feel so good because ... So it is not only about hierarchy. It's important to respect the roles or the levels, for sure. But it is not only about that, because a person at the top on their own will not be very successful. So my presentation was from voice to purpose. And when we talk about voice to purpose, there's a lot of potential. And we here have about, I think before we were 104. 104 people that on a Saturday decided to join this instead of going out or going next to their friends, or you are here. And that is potential. That we chose to be here, that you chose to be here, shows that you have potential. You want to have a purpose, you want to contribute. So the potential comes with the responsibility. You decided to be here today. That's very precious. That's very human. From my end, the last 4 slides. This is a picture that I like to show a lot to my students. What kind of leader do you want to be? Are you hiding behind a mask? Do you want to make up someone or something which you are not? Or are you fine with being you? Are you fine with others seeing your true colors? Or do you have to make it up to show them that you are worthy of the leadership? Because in the Commonwealth, what we learn is that we are all, let's say the word equal. Equal is not the best word that I want to use, but in a world where we constantly compare the North and the South, we compare Europe with Africa, we compare Europe with the East. Who's better, who's worse, who's this color and who's that color. It's a very annoying space, and youth leaders need to tackle this. We cannot look like the others. Be authentic, be who you want to be. Break the norms. Break the norms. In this council, I am the youngest one, and I am learning a lot, because the people in the council, the people who are like in charge, leaders, I am learning a lot. I am learning a lot from these people. They are professors. They are sharing with me a lot of skills. But what I like about them all, who's coming from Nigeria, who's coming from India, who's coming from Canada, from America, that these are people that somewhere along the line broke the norms. So I am very lucky to be a coordinator here, because I'm learning from very good people who helped me and showed me how to break the norms to be an authentic leader. And this is the message that I would like to convey to you all. Break the norms, challenge the norms, be the leaders, sort of be the change that you want to see, be the leader that you want to be. Like we say, be the teacher that you wanted when you were younger, be the leader that you wanted to be when you were a teacher, or if you are a teacher, what sort of leader do you want to be? I think this is my slide before their last. Many young people, when I was younger, I was in the student union and the youth union, then I did my master's, then whatever in leadership, and you get a lot of doubts. I am too young, I am not experienced enough, nobody will listen to me because I'm young, because I'm a girl, because I am coming from this family, because we are many siblings, because my parents are like this or like that, or blah, blah, blah. Just for me to share with you, I am coming from a very regular family, and my parents, I mean, my father used to work as a cleaner. In Malta, we have a lot of hotels. It's a popular thing because it's a tourist place. And my father used to work as a cleaner. This was his job in a hotel, and he still doesn't know how to write and how to read now. He's 68. But he gave me a lot of other skills. And I am never ashamed that I am coming from a family where my father was a cleaner. That's completely fine because he supported me. They tried to give me the best education. If I was not very good in maths, they tried to pay some extra classes for me to learn more. So we might feel as young people that we are not enough. We're not confident. Our family is not good enough. Our village is not good enough. But you begin to lead if you help someone, if you speak up, if you support, if you stand for something. The world changes when ordinary people like us decide not to remain silent, decide to challenge the norm. This is me. This is my final take. I'm very excited to be here, and you opened a lot of memories because I was thinking earlier today about my trip. It was very beautiful. Leadership is not about becoming somebody important. It is also about having a title like a doctor or professor, of course, but it is about becoming somebody useful to humanity. And on this note, I end this here. Thank you so much. You have my email there. If you want to learn more about us, you can email me on the first one. If you want to get in touch with me privately, as in about whatever, you can email me there, or both. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring words and making this an enriching session. Your words to become leader as a youth, as I am also an introvert earlier, but now I understand my potential to stand here and to work here because of the support of Nilima ma'am, Archana ma'am, and the Tanya ma'am. Let us now invite our third resourceful speaker, Dr. Nihal Mayur, to share his valuable expertise with us. He is an international development specialist, diplomatic consultant, social scientist, and UN representative with over a decade of experience advancing SDGs. His diverse work spans grassroots implementation, emergency disaster response, and global policy negotiation. Dr. Mayur is a global speaker who frequently addresses youth at renowned universities worldwide. Now, the platform is yours, sir.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak at this esteemed gathering. I am so thankful to professors, distinguished speakers, esteemed guests, fellow educators, young leaders across the country and across the Commonwealth are here today to this virtual symposium on Youth on Leadership 2026. To begin the challenge, I will face while speaking. I cannot turn on my camera because I'm reaching out from a rural village in Maharashtra, which is the rural district of Maharashtra, Talasari. And so, if I turn on my camera, I'm scared of losing the network. So I'm sorry about that, that I will not be able to turn on my camera. But the other challenge is like speaking at the third in the list where already a senior lecturers and professors spoken everything about the youth development, youth challenges, and what we are facing right now, and what are the strategies we can use to address the challenge what today youth is facing. So I will keep my topic very simple and have to weed out it to the best practices what I've been practicing on the ground level across the globe. To begin with, the world is a home of 1.8 million young people, and between 10 to 24, that's the largest generation in the human history, as ma'am mentioned before. India itself holds 600 million youth under the age of 25 and 65% of our population below 35, and it's never seen in the history before. So, how to transform the potential into purpose? I would like to share a short story where I am representing now a tribal community called Warli, which has 600 years of footprints to talk about. Warli is known for the culture and a painting which is renowned across the globe. But the reality behind the painting is when there was no language to speak, they have expressed their culture in form of painting so the next generation should know that what the practices are. So if you see a Warli painting, there are different types of painting, but every painting speaks about the culture, the tradition to follow, and that too a social commitment, what one generation has passed on to the another generation, and today they are still following that culture. So it's a great place to be, and I'm happy to represent from here. How to transform a potential into purpose? That's the answer lies in the leadership. And what we are doing here, a simple example I can share about the leadership, what we're doing here. So the Warli community, the Warli tribe is a scheduled tribe in India, and in Maharashtra, they are the landscape between Maharashtra, Gujarat, and the Western Ghats. They have a population about half a million, and the challenge of lack of education and reach out because of the demographic challenges. Schools and the colleges between Maharashtra and Gujarat, they face a lot of challenges of speaking in the local language, and that brought them down in education sector. But in last 2 decades, with the help of the government and the simple policies which is reformed by the government, they have access. Like in Gujarat, we have Marathi school, and in Maharashtra we have Gujarati school. So the regional tribe can learn in the local language despite of the division of the state. This is a good example that if a good leadership and a good policy can turn a simple challenge into action, and the result is now we have a representation of 70 to 80% people who are educated now are literate. The real challenge of the leadership here is when the government give grants to these people, what they are not reach out to these people because of the corruption or probably lack of knowledge and education. So what we did as an individual youth living here, we have developed a leadership, and a leadership from every village, from every district of this village, and we have a representation of 500 people where we get trained from the government officials. We hire them, we call them to come and speak about the grant which is given by the state government and the loan facility and the benefits which is given to the tribal area for their social and economic challenges and the development. So these simple techniques, while training them and developing them to know that what are the benefits given to the community, the leadership, young leaders go back to their villages and train them and teach them that what are the benefits available in terms of learning in education sector, in innovation, in development, and that is how now every village we have a captain and a leader who goes who speak to the community, make sure that who are the eligible people, fill this benefit form, and they get a benefit. So the school education is being funded by the government, but they were because of lack of knowledge they used to drop out because of fees. But this because of the young generations who and the youth leadership, it is now possible that every child in this region in a tribal belt goes to school. This is what a good practices or a best practices what I feel that the best I can give to the youth who are listening to us today, that community development. And as my previous speaker spoke about the SDG, sustainable development goal, a global agenda where every country, every state, every city, and every individual including corporations is responsible to achieve SDG 2030. And 17 goal is a partnership. Ma'am already discussed about the partnership building. And this is a great example when the youth leadership represent a partnership among the youth, that is where you see the change. That is where you see the power of youth, and that is where you see the transformation from ideas into action. I would like to share another simple example. In 2015, post Nepal earthquake, there was a youth who just posted on social media that my school is broken. How will I go to school? And that was a catch, which was seen by one of the journalists in New York. Sitting that post, she felt so sad, and she started doing a fundraising for the school. She used a social media platform to do fundraising, and she collected fund, and they hired an organization who work on eco-friendly and earthquake-friendly buildings, so that another earthquake would not destroy the school. And they developed a school with the technology given by a Bangalore-based company, and all the resources were sent from US to Bangalore, and the basic requirement was filled up from Uttar Pradesh and this technology. And today we have the school which is eco-friendly and earthquake-friendly. So the partnership built among the youth, and they brought the school standing. And today there are more than 600 students who goes to the school happily and without thinking that if tomorrow any disaster happens, so the school will be destroyed. So this is the power of youth. This is the power of social media. Today, we youth, we use social media. We are blessed one to have an internet access, but there are other part of the world where the youth, they do not have equal internet access, and they have a challenge to reach out. And so, what I believe and what we can take from here, I want to share with the youth that five important things which we can practice every day in our daily life to make sure to develop leadership is, first thing I feel is think globally and act locally. This simple word is inspired from our great leader Mahatma Gandhi, said that be the change what you want to see in this world. So we have to understand that what are our challenges in our society, how to address that. When we form a community with a group of youth who can think about that, how we can tackle this problem and challenge and address this challenge. And we have in India, I feel now administration is more transparent for collaborating with the civil societies and corporation and individual youth and universities as well with the great ideas. So that's a very good opportunity for every one of us to think that what is the challenge in your community and how you can address. The second is develop skills, not just degree, because degree may open the door, but the skills may take you for a long run. And as we know that the technology is developing now, we have to be updated with the AI, with the different mode of robotics and etc. All the technological terms which we come across every day with the new language, we have to be updated with that. There was a report stated that by 2030, every person has to be updated with one skill to sustain in the job market. The use of technology in social good is a very important agenda, and where we every one of us today we have a smartphone which is a powerful tool for us to raise our voice for the right and to share a knowledge among the community. Lead through the service. This lead through the service is a very important thing which I can talk about is everyone has a good scope to do something good for the society. Everyone, we are here together for a purpose, and how to achieve that purpose is sharing our goods with others in terms of knowledge and education and your best practices innovation with others. Building partnership, again the goal 17 and the most important goal to not to achieve the sustainable development goal agenda as such, but this generation today we are blessed to have a technology exposure where I can reach out sitting here, I can talk to 102 people from a tribal area. So this technology is a benefit, and we if we use this technology for a betterment and building a partnership, that will bring a change and transformation to the society in terms of every social development and engagements. So today it's about how we bridge the gap to understand that the challenge among the youth, how we can come together to address the challenge of the youth, bring more innovations, simple technologies, and simple practices. So there are so many startups in India. Approximately 19,000 startups are doing very well I want to share one simple startup which I've been following them. They have built up a software where sitting home you can check the soil, because now the agriculture challenges because of the drought and the climatical change. The farmers are dropping out. They don't want to work in farms because of the loss. So this simple technology can identify the soil and the moisture in the soil, see the sun capacity, and tell that which crop will grow here. So this will bring them a power to grow the crop, which will be benefited for them, and which will be a which can be a game changer for them. So this simple technology, which can work less than 2,000 rupees, which everyone can afford, if we reach out to maximum people around the country and across the globe, will be a benefited to every one of us, and we will save the farmers. And finally, I want to share my last experience. In year 2000, we had a massive earthquake in Gujarat. So there was a potter who was very thirsty. He was thinking that what should I do, like to drink of water. So he was potting. While he was potting, he saw this pot was in a round shape, and he thought that why not I change the shape of the spot and make it rectangular. If I make this rectangular, I may save some fruits and vegetable inside that. And that is the now today is the best innovation of the millennium we got an honored. This is called Mitti Cool Fridge, which works without electricity, which works without maintenance, and it can sustain any climate condition, and it gives a clean, fresh water. So one simple innovation for sustaining has changed the face of the world. So my say is to take this simple practices and innovate and develop in our local communities to see the changes. I I would like to end my saying that the greatest leaders are not those who create the followers, but who create the leaders. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I'm sorry that if I have a network issues from here because I'm sitting in a tribal area. And looking forward to work with you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insights and your real life examples to get us connected with the spheres of India, and to know us that how the tribal areas get transformed by the policies of government and all. Now I am delighted to invite our fourth resourceful speaker, Dr. Archana Bhattacharjee ma'am, to enlighten the forum. The topic which she is talking about, from the grassroots to the global stage, shaping leaders for Viksit Bharat. She is an eminent educator, life coach, motivational speaker, social activist, and Rex Karamveer Chakra awardee. She retired as an assistant professor, associate professor, and head of a government college in Assam. She is a president of NGO Navikaran Manch, working for the empowerment of tea community, the women, and the youth. Attended various conferences and presented paper on Dalit and gender issues. Her guiding mantra is think global, work local. Thank you, ma'am. Now the virtual mic is yours.
Thank you, Sapna, for those kind words. Am I audible? Yes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you are audible.
Okay. So thank you once again, Sapna, for those kind words. And first of all, I would like to say a big thank you to all the previous speakers. They have spoken at great length on the main theme of this symposium, from potential to purpose, empowering the next generation of leaders. And I'm sure all the participants present here today have benefited a lot and have been given plenty of food for thought. It's not that I'm going to speak something new, but what I'll try to do is like putting old wine into new bottles with new packaging. So on that note, let me first address all of you, distinguished guests, esteemed organizers, and the young leaders gathered here virtually. We all know that we are standing at a very defining moment in history. Artificial intelligence, the climate challenges, and the shifting global economies are transforming the way we are now working and leading. Amidst all the changes, India is pursuing an ambitious vision, Viksit Bharat, a developed India by the centenary of our independence. Yet, all of us know that a developed nation is not measured by economic growth or modern infrastructure alone. True development, I believe, is reflected in the empowerment of every citizen and the inclusion of every community. The driving force behind this transformation is not technology alone. It is our youth. So India, as we all know, possesses the world's largest youth population. And this demographic advantage can definitely become our greatest strength if we nurture leadership, which is inclusive, innovative, and socially responsible. Leadership for a developed India cannot remain confined to the metropolitan cities alone. It must emerge from every village, every tea garden, every tribal community, and every marginalized region. At the heart of India's development philosophy lies Antyodaya, the upliftment of the last person in the queue. Our progress must be measured not by the success of a few, but by the opportunities available to all. This belief shaped my volunteer work with the young people from the tea garden communities and other marginalized areas. This youth possesses remarkable reliance, rich cultural values, and an extraordinary capacity to overcome the adversity which they face every single day. Yet, many face limited access to quality education, digital resources, even now, and opportunities for growth in all areas of life. So I took upon myself as a mission to bring back some of these facilities to those youths which are living on the fringes and to help them discover the leadership within themselves just so they can reach out for any opportunities that come their way. Our non-governmental organization, which I'm heading, focused on a few key areas like education, environment, health, sports for holistic development, communication skill, and most important, social entrepreneurship. The transformation was truly very, very inspiring. Young people who once viewed themselves as just spectators have now become active change makers. They have been launching health awareness programs, campaigns, organizing sports initiatives to combat the substance abuse prevailing in the areas, and also creating learning networks for the younger children of their communities. But as we all know, leadership cannot stop at the community level alone. It must connect the local realities with the global opportunities. We therefore we tried to create pathways that enable these young leaders to participate in international youth programs, sustainability forums, and even cross-cultural dialogues. We collaborated with various organizations and even with Delaware University also, just so that our youths get the best exposure. And that happened during the COVID pandemic, one of the more challenging times in the history of the world. And when youths from very remote communities, they stand on the global platforms, they bring perspectives that are authentic, grounded, and deeply relevant. Their own personal experiences offer valuable insights into sustainability, resilience, and leading ultimately to community development. Equally important, they have returned home with fresh ideas, broader vision, and renewed confidence, which is the most important thing, to take them forward on the path of leadership. In this way, leadership has become a bridge between local action and global engagement. The theme of this symposium, From Potential to Purpose, captures the essence of this journey. Potential is universal. Purpose is cultivated. Potential is what young people possess. Purpose is what emerges when they are given the right opportunities, mentorship, and a strong belief in their own abilities. As educators, community leaders, and mentors, our responsibility is not merely to prepare young people for the future, it is to empower them to shape it, make them aware of this big responsibility on their shoulder. The leaders of tomorrow are not waiting to emerge. They are already among us, in our schools, in our villages, our communities, and in our own institutions. Our task is to create an ecosystem where every young person can discover their voice. They have to be seen, they have to be heard as well, realize their own potential, and transform that potential into meaningful action. In conclusion, all that I can say is that the journey from potential to purpose is not an individual journey. It is a collective mission. I repeat once again, it is not an individual journey, it is a collective mission. When we empower one young person, we strengthen a community. And when we empower a generation, we transform a nation. The path to Viksit Bharat will not be built solely in the boardrooms or the technology parks. It will be built where young minds are encouraged to dream, to lead, and to serve. Let us therefore, all of us, commit ourselves to nurturing this kind of leaders who are rooted in compassion, driven by purpose, and prepared to create positive change, both locally as well as globally. For when young person discovers their purpose, the promise of a developed, inclusive, and prosperous India will no longer remain a vision. It will become a reality. And on this positive note, I thank all of you for giving me a patient hearing. And if you have any queries, you can shoot towards the end part. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for closing our core speaker session on a very high note and such a incredible words. I may now invite our Nilima ma'am, who is the head of CCEAM-India, to set the context of today's symposium, by which we are starting our interactive session.
Okay.
I formally
Am I
welcome.
to speak before the interactive session? Just a very brief, because
Yes,
there is an
just a
interactive
brief.
session too, right? Okay.
Yes. To set the context of today's virtual.
Indeed, I was mesmerized by all the speakers. It was wonderful, wonderful, and highly, I should say, impactful. And most of the things I learned today, just to quote Dr. Heath, lots of learning took place in my mind also today. It is really amazing. It is really amazing. And also, it has stimulated our mind that why not? We can do this. Why not? We can do that. So this is a platform which has been, the opportunity we got from CCEAM to create this platform and do the best and also make the best to make our generation of youths to lead us, to lead the country, to lead the respective countries. And that is what we really expect. Because, right, what happens, we always say the young minds. I think I said in the beginning, before I gave the welcome address, that we really believe, we really trust our young minds. They have lots of, the force within them, and we expect it. So today's speakers, you really gave justice to this symposium, and you pointed out right from our president CCEAM when she gave the inaugural a number of important points. I all jotted down. All the speakers pointed, I jotted down that it will really work if we go all of us together hand in hand, and that is what I just believe, and also I think it will be possible for us. We are a family now, and we can do it. It's a big family. The CCM has become a huge family, global family, and we can do it, sure. Okay. Over to you, Sapna.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your words and your kind regards to us, for inviting us, and for means being a part of this family of CCM India. Thank you to all our four resourceful speakers. Now the forum is officially open for the interactive session. One thing I again ask all the participants to write their queries or questions or doubts in the chat box or elsewhere where they want to, and for whom the question is, they may ask. I'm handing over the virtual mic to the Masuda, who is the moderator of our today's virtual symposium, and the feedback form for the participants will be shared in the chat box only. Thank you. Over
Thank
to
you,
you,
Sapna.
Masuda.
Thank you very much, Sapna. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to welcome you all to the virtual symposium on the Youth Leadership 2026, organized by CCAM India under the aegis of the Commonwealth Council for Educational Administration and Management. My journey from a teacher to a teacher educator, it totally resonates deeply with today's theme, that is from potential to purpose, empowering the next generation of leaders. The theme reminds us that leadership is not merely about holding positions of influence, but also inspiring positive change, serving communities, and creating a better future for all. We are privileged to be joined by distinguished educators, researchers, policymakers, and leaders from across the regions and across the globe who bring with them a wealth of experience and wisdom. Dear participants, our youth, with you, my friends, and I invite you all to share your thoughts, your questions after hearing to such inspiring content that has been shared. And of course, you must be having, I'm sure you must be excited to learn about how to be a contributing figure towards a better Bharat, and which is the aim, Viksit Bharat. And even we have a new education policy, NEP 2020, and there's a lot common in between. And time, we shouldn't be saying it's running, but yes, we have much to be accomplished, and time is to be positive. We have time on hand, so let's make the best use of time in hand rather than saying that we are running short of time. So every meaningful conversation here begins with a question, and every breakthrough shall begin with a curiosity. I request all of you participants to please switch on your cameras, raise your hands, and put forward your questions directed to whichever speaker you'd like to share. And in the meantime, we've had a question and which has also been answered by Dr. Vanessa Fernandez, and but I would like to take the question again. She's expressed her deep appreciation for the presentation, and her question for you, ma'am, is if you could recommend one priority that every educational institution in India should focus on over the next 5 years to ensure leadership development, what would it be and why? I think it would be nice to have you share, though your response is there in written. Sapna, is ma'am over there? Ma'am, if you could please unmute.
Yes, ma'am, sir.
Ma'am, please
Ma'am, you
unmute
are
yourself.
muted.
Vanessa, ma'am, you are muted.
Yes, thank you. I was just finding my response in the chat. So your question, Dr. Geeta, what I would suggest is considering, first of all, the gender inequity, because that is huge in itself. It's a big, wide area where we need to address it as of 10 years ago. And the next thing that I would say is that look at the employability skills that can be taught in higher education institutions, in secondary schools, even in primary schools, even financial literacy skills to young people, because I think knowing what employers want is very useful, but also helping them to develop their own understanding on how they need to stand on their feet is equally important, and what kinds of skills they need, whether they are going to be social entrepreneurs or innovators, that becomes really important. And finally, I would say something that doesn't cost a lot of money but is really important is really having those youth advisory boards, whether they are again in universities, if they are in universities, then informing not just research but also informing the education focused programs and the engagement programs. Just including them in there, it would bring in their voice, and it doesn't cost us a lot to be able to do that. And likewise, doing that in the school setting as well. So starting them off from an early stage in their life in appreciating their voice and recognizing that their voice has agency, developing that space within our institutions through these advisory boards, right? Getting them connected with whatever macro level offerings and opportunities are out there, getting them involved in that, signing up our institutions into that. All of that provides for them a platform and helps to deconstruct the siloed ways in which youth development is going on.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vanessa
Okay, ma'am.
Fernandez.
Okay, ma'am. I am Geeta. Okay, ma'am. What you have suggested is creating an ecosystem that integrates academic excellence with life skills, mental health being, and digital competence and employability. Okay, ma'am. That is in a nutshell. Huh?
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You're most welcome.
My great appreciations to your presentation. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ma'am, as you have even mentioned that we are connected by purpose, and we all know we are fragmented in practices. So this fragmentation of practice, how can we work on it? How can the youth come together about it? If you could share some light over the action that could be taken
Yes,
in a
so
short.
our third speaker spoke about, think global, act local. And I think that is a key strategy that can be used. So you've got to understand what's at the global level, what's at the national level, and then you've got to see at your institutional level what can be done, what can be done within the four walls of the institution, but what can be done as the institution branches out and connects at the national level and then at the international level. And I think there is huge scope in that space of being able to tap into that, and then providing that platform within institutions for young people to be able to raise their voice and to be able to participate and to be able to inform us whether what we're delivering to them is really going to be of use or not. And then having the courage to say, okay, if it's not useful, then what do we need to do?
Thank you. So we understand how important it is getting together and being under somebody's mentorship and getting your ideas together. We can really move forward. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
With that, I'd like to request Debashish Datta to please unmute yourself. I can see your hand raised, and please go ahead with your question.
Hello everyone. Myself Devashish Dotto, a student of class 9, and I want to ask my question to Health Crips Cambridge sir. And my question is, how can student like us protect a true sense of purpose when we face with the real world pressure or the of this modern world or the defiant thoughts of people? As people say, all different. Sometimes it be positive or sometimes it be negative.
Okay, because I was trying to unmute. So first of all, thank you for the question. I mean, I think it is one of the biggest issues or challenges, sort of having this pressure that you said, sort of this pressure to succeed quickly, to always compare, sort of to what should be done or how we should look, or so your argument of this true sense of who we are and the purpose where we want to go. I think people, first of all, individually, in their own small circle, they need to ask themselves, what kind of person do I want to become? What are the values that that matter to me? What impact do I want to do? So it is not about going big. It's about the momentum, the small circles, and the ripple effect, which will eventually help you protect this true version of who you are. Because if you're gonna let what the world wants you to do, what the big powers, what the giants, what the technology giants, what the financial industry, what they want us to do, then we would all become robotic. We would all be looking at people as numbers. So as a student, to protect your true self, and eventually from a student to become a leader, I think you need to listen carefully to the people, to accept their identity. Do not try to change people, try to work with them rather than trying to change them or to replicate yourself in who they are. So yeah, so it's not about creating noise, it's about sort of learning how to be authentic without sort of to find a balance between being authentic, but at the same time pushing an agenda forward which doesn't need to make people feel bad or that their purpose is not good enough to. I'm not sure if this answers you, Debashish.
Thank you, Dr. Heath. We have a similar question. This is by Upasna Nath. Yes, it's very difficult to answer because this is something that the youth is struggling with. There are hindrances in taking actions which come from self-doubt, low confidence, lack of courage, and the fright of being criticized. And India has multiple educational contexts as well. So, could you throw some light that how EQ could be worked upon and the youth can come forward in making practice possible and changing the scenario on field?
Who was the question for?
To whom
Dr.
the question is, please?
Yeah, Dr. Heath, this question is for you
Heath.
again
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
Upasna
okay.
Nath. Yeah.
Yeah,
In
I think
continuation to what the previous question was, yes.
Okay, and I think also Dr. Vanessa also added to the point on the chat. I think this idea of sort of eradicating the self-doubt and how to make our youth succeed. I mean, I look at my students, My students are young. They are between 18 and 23. The world is theirs. The world is their oyster. They will be here when we will not be here. So when I talk with my students and with the lecturers and with the academics at the college, I sort of try to tell them, listen, being uncertain is a part of who we are. What to make with that uncertainty is how you tackle it. So we all have our doubts, we all have our issues, and we all have our sort of fragile moments. But what we do as educational system, so in your classrooms, change happens one classroom at a time, one school at a time. We heard about finding leaders in every tribe, in every region, in every village. When I was in India, I could see that there were some villages which were like in the middle of nowhere. There might be the next leader there. There might be the next president there. I mean, the person could be there in the middle of a village which has low access to things. So seizing the opportunity and believing that everyone can, and this is what teachers and leaders should do in schools, in education, in every kindergarten, in every childcare center, in every primary school, in every secondary school. Change happens one day at a time. How? By allowing space for your classroom to be a safe space. We still respect authority. So this is not about being a rebel and not wanting to follow. By not following the norms, you are not disrespecting. But we must create a culture where it's okay to question. It's okay that a mistake can be a learning curve rather than something which we use to scold a person or to hit someone. Or no, mistakes are there for us to be better people. Because if we were all perfect, we wouldn't need the symposium either. So yeah, so this is my strongest opinion. I think create cultures where it's okay to question with respect.
Thank you, Dr. Heath. That was.
Shall I interpret?
Thank you, Dr. Heath.
I'm
Excuse me, could you please mute yourself?
Hello, any questions for Bani Masuda in the chat box?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank you,
please,
Mr. Heath.
because we have less time, and encourage those who haven't spoken. Okay, if they have any questions.
I would like to request Dhyan Sandhya Batsash to please unmute yourself and go ahead with your question.
Dhan Chand, I can't see in my screen.
It's a school.
Hello, everyone. I am Dhanasitya Vachis, studying in class 8 from Girijananda Vidya Mandir, Johat, Assam, India. I have a question to Heathcliff Scambry, sir, that what advice would you like to give students who want to raise voice against injustice and social norms that creates barriers but stands back due to fear issues and limited opportunities and resources?
Wow, very good. Nice
I
question.
can answer, but if you want someone else to answer, someone else from my colleagues, that is also fine. From the other two speakers, maybe Archana or
Vanessa, I think Vanessa, you can answer the question. Will it be passed to you, the question? Okay.
Yes.
Civil returns.
I'm happy to answer the question. I think one of the first things that you have to think about is what strengths do you have, all right? Because sometimes when we think about leaders, we're thinking about this whole theory that we call in leadership, great man theory or great woman theory or superhero theory. And what we try to do is we try to help our young leaders to understand that good leaders don't have to be those great leaders, so to speak. So we're not saying don't be a great leader, but we are saying you don't have to be a famous leader or a superhero. to be a leader. You can be a leader even from a position of not being a leader and raising your voice, right? So what is your zone of influence also becomes really important. So who is it that you can really influence? And you start from that point. You start thinking about, okay, I can influence the people in my school. I can talk to my principal. I can talk to my teachers. They can give me a platform to raise my voice, to talk about this issue. And then you talk about it. You get around for yourself a group of people who are also like-minded, who like the idea of what you're talking about. And that's how you slowly by slowly create a movement, right? But you start really from first looking at what are your strengths and what is it that you're trying to say and what is it that you're finding as an injustice that is really annoying you, okay? And then you look at your zone of influence. Now your zone of influence, like I said, it's in school, with your classmates, it's in your neighborhood, with your neighbors, it's in your family, with your family and relatives. That is really your zone of influence. You start off from there and then you gradually build it up over time.
Okay, thank you.
Can I add something, please? Just to continue
Edit.
this argument, because and I think also being in class 8 is an amazing space. Why? Because as a leader, you also learn how to educate yourself deeply, to know the knowledge. Not only to know how to do a speech or to know how to empower, to know the knowledge. So when you are in a room, you show people that you know the history, you know the facts, you know why things happened. So then you become credible. Because when you invest in yourself, like you're at school, you're learning, you have access to knowledge, you have access to the teachers who will support you. Once you know about the facts, the knowledge, the history, why things happen in a certain way, you can then argue for not necessarily being the great leader, but being the good one there.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr.
And
Lee.
any more, or otherwise, I will just have one observation.
Yeah, sure.
But you let others speak first.
There is one more question in the chat box. Can I go with that? Yeah.
Yes, please.
It is what measure, she's not specified to whom this question is, so it could be taken up by any speakers. What measures are being taken to develop more inclusive and flexible assessment practices and to increase the recruitment of special educators so that students can be evaluated and supported according to their unique learning needs and potential? Probably it's more related to the inclusive practices in classrooms so that they are not left out in this process of absorbing potential. Yeah.
If I can share a bit of reflection about this concept of inclusion, in Europe, we are trying slowly to move the concept of belonging rather than inclusion. So the policies which we had in the past few years, like EU 2030, EU 2024, they were talking about inclusion. And the concept of inclusion, so including someone, is a bit problematic because automatically it suggests that you are excluded. We are inside the circle, you are outside of the circle, and you have to become like us. We include you with us. So although addressing diverse needs and impairments and learning styles is fantastic and we should be doing this, as leaders, we also have to, because in the classroom, as a teacher, you are also a leader there. As a leader in the classroom, you also have to sort of make sure that the concept of inclusion is not making people feel like they are segregated and we're trying to bring them like us. The concept of belonging makes a lot more sense maybe in the European sphere because we are not trying to include you. We're in the center and you're outside. Everyone belongs in their own reality, and we try to provide you with the tools, technological tools, assessment tools, adaptive tools, the way we teach, the voice, with tools which might help you. But leaders cannot segregate, because when when the leaders start talking about those children are like that and those children are like that, is the beginning of the end.
Yeah, it's true.
Thank you, sir. Nilima ma'am, you please go ahead. You want to share?
No more questions in the chat box.
We have two hands raised. We can. I would
Yeah, you
request
ask them
Garibe
because
Varsha.
I'm giving the priority to them first, then I will come next before it ends up. Huh? Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Gariba Varsha, you may unmute yourself. I can see your hand raised. You can go ahead with your question.
Thank you. I'm Varsha Garibe from Tier College of Education, Pune, and I'm currently studying in B.Ed second year. As a future teacher, I have a question to Dr. Heath, that how can educators or leaders filter the information overload of young minds? Because today, as he said, that one of the problems is information overload, and it might become very aggressive when students know more and they are more confused. So I again re-articulate my question. How can educators or leaders filter the information to avoid information overload of young minds?
If you have time, Garibe, try to read the work of Professor Lawrence Stenhouse. I am going to put it in the chat. 1975. And Stenhouse talks about 4 types of curriculum. And I think it's a good idea that you read this book, which is coming from a time when there wasn't this information overload that we have today. That if you go on Google and you write one question, you will get 2.1 million websites. That's a lot. Like, where do you start? Stenhouse talks about 4 types of curriculum. Curriculum, not only syllabus. Curriculum is also teaching and learning, okay? How we do things. And he talks about, are you a teacher whose job is only to transfer the knowledge? Are you a teacher who you're taking children or the students towards a product, an end, an exam? Are you the teacher who is talking about a process? Or are you the teacher who is talking about what he calls praxis? I am going to put it in the chat, praxis. And I think if you look at the section from his work about praxis, will answer this, because sometimes it is not about the amount of information we give to the students, but it's about the tools for them to learn how to filter information which we need to give, rather than the knowledge, because the children will have access, most of them, not most of them, many of them, to online platforms. So what is in your textbook will be found on AI in 3 seconds, not in 3 weeks of lessons. So you have to teach them how to use the tools well, not to overload with the... And also there's the concept, Garibe, about false information, false news, false information. We have to teach children as the leaders not to believe everything they see. A lot of the Instagram posts are AI generated, and we like wouldn't know, because they're perfect, they're beautiful, they look so real, but it's fake.
Thank you, Dr. Heath. Indeed, we do need theory and praxis together, working hand in hand. I would even like Dr. Mamunur to please unmute herself.
Who is there?
Dr. Mamunur.
Anybody with that name, please?
And if you're not
Please
able
raise
to
your hand
unmute,
if
then
you
I can
have.
give chance to another participant. Chayanika Handik.
Sainika Hondik, yes. Please.
Yes, ma'am.
Unmute, please.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, all. As I'm from Assam, so here it is like almost so afternoon. So first of all, I would like to thanks heartfelt gratitude to CCEM for giving me this wonderful opportunity. So I am a research scholar from Mahapurush Srimanta Shankardev Vishwavidyalaya, Nagaon, Assam. So my question is to Dr. Heathcliff, sir. So, as you have mentioned that you have visited India once, so can you mention any one qualities from each country like Malta and India through which they can exchange with each other from your observation?
Yeah, I was working I was not working, I was volunteering in a school called Bodhi Tree High School for 3 weeks. Okay, it was in Bodh Gaya. So on the way from Varanasi to Bodh Gaya to Kolkata, there. Okay, and yes.
Sir, actually, my question was like for elementary education, especially for elementary education.
Yes, I think it would apply to all of them. What are the characteristics and the similarities? Are you asking me this? Yes. We are both products of we are both post-colonial in the way we are products of colonialism. That's a fact. And being a post-colonial baby is interesting because you have learned from the colony, but there's a post-colony trajectory that you need to do. So I think the similarity is also learning from who led us, but then redefining that knowledge in a way that we become authentic. So what makes an Indian an Indian? Is it because the Indian was under the British rule, or is it because the Indian is now an Indian and the way forward? And I think there's a lot of soul searching that we need to do as leaders, as teachers. In Malta, we do it because the way we live is very British. We speak English here, the taxation is British, the school system is British, examinations are very important, we have director generals for education, a bit like you. We have the remnants of the colony, but then we are Maltese. There's a sense of national pride. So I think as a teacher, the characteristic is also helping children move towards appreciating their cultural heritage beyond the colony, that they are Indians, and being Indian is fascinating, whatever the world, whatever anyone may think. That being in Malta is fascinating, although you are super small. And when I go abroad, many people don't know about us. They think that Malta is a part of Italy, or that we are part of Africa, or that we are Arabs or whatever, which is fine. But I am Maltese, and I want my children in the classroom to feel, when they look at the flag, they feel, I am Maltese. So I think that's a bit of a similarity. And if you want to explore more, Chayanika, feel free to contact me. Maybe I can put you in touch with my students and you can exchange some of the thoughts. Because they have a bit of a problem now, because the children in the elementary schools now in Malta, they are acting as if they are American. They are watching American TV and they are talking in accents that we don't understand. So we have a bit of a problem now because it seems like they want to be someone who they are not. And that's very bad, to be ashamed of who you are, because you are you.
Thank you for sharing, Dr. Heath. I think that's one issue that all of us are facing with the global culture, and everybody is becoming one American identity, and it's so common. Yes, I think it's issue with all the cultures, and especially being the colony that we've all been. Yes, we have our share of struggles. Thank you so much. Nilima ma'am, I would request you to share.
And
your
nobody
thoughts.
to speak anything? Sure? Okay. I will, it is my observation and it is purely, I think, let me just tell you my name. I think I didn't introduce myself. Okay. I'm Nilima Bhagavati and had long years of more than decades, 4 decades in higher education and also dealing with the, especially special need children. I also worked for some times in NGO. So with all these experiences, now I have come up giving guidance and counseling for wellness. And that opportunity was given by the government of India by appointing me as the national resource person to work in NEP 2020. So on the basis of that, I did huge survey. Practically, I did from earlier, right? After COVID, I started. But after this, when I was nominated, I did lots of work in school education and also in higher education. And I found something when I communicate directly with the parents and children, taking both of them separately, I find like the trust of the parents is missing in the children. That is one of the things I have found most of the year. Secondly, I have found that the generation gap, they don't want to accept some of the children, or some of the youths, what the mother or what the father says. And they also don't want to, encourage their children something new, something to accept. So that arises, lots of conflict. And where in that case, when there is sort of rift or when there is in the family some, like controversies are there, the arguments are there to do this or not to do this, there the foundation, the cognitive level, whether you call it or whether you call it, there are other aspects to become a leader. How will it grow? That is one thing. Because they will be busy all the time with their own problems. And another great problem, I think it is not only in Assam. This work I did in Assam, not only in Assam, but in most of the other states also, I have found over expectation. There are lots of children with potentials. There are lots of children, I'm telling you, I was surprised to see some children in the rural areas of Assam. They are so talented. When I asked him, first question, a boy of 8 years old, when he can say, so what do you want to be? Better? I want to be a singer. So why you want to be a singer out of all the year? No, it makes me happy. That was his answer. But nobody helped him to give that answer. I was surprised. So how the things are changing now, they have, but they cannot express out. And another one, I wrote it down, that is the freedom is not given by most of the parents. I'm not generalizing. The selected samples I went, I found that the freedom is not given to the children to speak, to express their opinion. Pehle kya hota tha? First, what happened, like the whole family, they sit for a dinner together. They sit together for the lunch or something like that in respect to Indian situation, I'm just saying. But now, all in the separate rooms and all that culture has come, all busy with mobiles and all. So there is lesser time given to the children, and children also don't have lesser time to talk to their ear as mentors. This is approach them. And this is something it shocked me sometimes, the interpersonal relationship. That is horribly missing, even in schools. Even in schools, I don't know that how those teachers can become teachers if they don't have the interpersonal relationship. How to treat them, how to behave, how their emotions should be, right? And only exams, only unit, test, etc., that will not make one to be a good leader in future. They have the potential, but. So, like this, if we see, our things are quite good. Now the national education policy is very good. The whole thing has been changed. From the contents, the teachers must come to the another side, that is competency, to make the children competent in the area. Like that, there are a number of ways, but those are not being followed. And the last one, which is the wellness. This time, fortunately, it came under my chairmanship, guidance and counseling in school education, and the wellness zone in every school. From the foundation, it will start from the foundation stage. And now we have almost crossed few years, 5 years has passed for the new policy, and by 2030, expecting that at least this mental health, the zone or the wellness zone should start in school. But what about the training of the teachers? That has to be taken up. And though it is not late, but I am just happy to state before you to tell you that the government of Assam, they have signed a MOU with the CTF organization to do the training part in the schools of Assam, the secondary schools, practically to start with all, but to deal with the mental health situations also. And I do believe that will be a good year for us to go and work with them, to understand them, and also to give them some of the relief measures to the parents, what to do, what not to do. So what I want to say, the last remark, that we have children, we just simply, it is no use, like rebuking or telling them or blaming them. It is we people who have to move ahead. We the teachers, the change makers, and we the parents at home. So that is what I feel. And if we can do that all together in a teamwork, one of the speakers has mentioned that, then I think it will be possible. We have to simply remove the word I am from impossible. It will be possible to do it. So this I just wanted to tell you because this is my, simply practical ground when I visited the schools. So I hope we'll be able to do all the teachers, and we are the ones the children also look up in schools or in the higher institutions. So definitely we have to move forward for that. Okay? That's all I wanted to tell you, my experience. And I do hope I am still very positive about it, that soon the good days will come, that there will be a paradigm shift very soon. And our children, our youths, they can lead us after a few more years. They can lead us and tell us what to do and how to go, give us the disha, to give us the direction. This is all I wanted to tell you. Okay, thank you very much for giving this opportunity. And it is also time, I think, for 30. And we have, what is the next agenda? Please see.
Ma'am, we have the vote of gratitude and to invite the reporter.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
That
so
part.
I would thank you, Nilima ma'am. Thank you, Masuda, for taking the session forward. And thank you to all the participants for making the session so much interactive and interesting by asking your doubts. Now, I would like to invite my one friend, Bhavna Sharma, is a junior research fellow, PhD scholar at the Department of Education, Guwahati University, currently working in the field of adolescent psychology. She is the reporter for our virtual symposium. Bhavna, the mic is yours now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sapna, for that introduction. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
So today's virtual symposium on youth leadership 2026, organized by the Commonwealth Council for Educational Administration and Management India, that was themed as From Potential to Purpose, was very much enlightening. I was keenly listening to all the resource persons, the comments by our dear audience. This is what I have gathered. The symposium commenced with the welcome address by Professor Nilima Bhagavati ma'am, who reflected on the core values of the organization. Honorable Chief Guest of today's symposium, Professor Hawa Imam ma'am, calls for equality and equity in our educational sector in the Commonwealth countries and the role of young teachers as well as student role models in bringing qualitative changes in the field of education. Our first resource person in the symposium, Professor Vanessa Fernandez ma'am, she presented a very comprehensive overview of youth leadership development in India. emphasizing the shift from welfare-oriented approaches to agency-centered youth engagement as envisioned in the National Youth Policy 2025. And she highlighted major initiatives like Mera Yuva Bharat, then Teach for India, Youth Advisory Boards, Bal Panchayats, SBI Youth for India, national service schemes, and so on, thus underscoring the importance of investing in youth leadership to harness India's demographic dividend and building the national capacity as required to achieve the vision of Viksit Bharat. Our second resource person, Dr. Heathcliff, in his presentation, From Voice to Purpose, Youth Leadership in Times of Changes, talks about the evolving role of youth leadership in addressing contemporary social challenges. Sir very rightly said that leadership should not be viewed as a position of power, but as a process of meaningful engagement, responsibility, and social contribution. Through various real life examples, he cited that students should move from merely expressing their opinions to purposeful action within their communities. And I remember this quite vividly when he said that we do not have to become powerful to make some changes, to begin leading, underscoring the idea that meaningful changes begins with ordinary people like us who choose to act. That is very important, that I'll carry forward with me as well. Our third resource person, Nehal Mayur sir, he focused on the transformative potential of youth in nation building and community development. Drawing upon his own personal experience of working with the Wari community in Maharashtra, he talks about the challenges faced by the marginalized communities because of their limited educational infrastructure and access to opportunities. He talks about practical examples of youth-led interventions. If we all remember, he talks about how representatives of villagers are taken and they disseminate the information back to their villages about the government schemes. He also talks about the power of social media. He talks about SDG goal number 17 of partnership of youth with the government and non-government organization. And finally, he also talks about the influence of social media as a tool for mobilization, awareness generation, and resource mobilization. He says, he advocates, think globally, act locally. Our fourth and last resource person, Dr. Archana ma'am, through her topic, From the Grassroots to the Global Stage, Shaping Leaders for Viksit Bharat, said that leadership for a developed India should not merely emerge from metropolitan cities of India, but from the villages itself. She says, and she quotes from her personal volunteer work with the young people of the tea garden communities and the marginalized areas, that potential is universal, but purpose is cultivated. Potential is what young people possess. And purpose emerges when given right opportunities, mentorship, with a strong belief in our own capabilities. At last, she calls out the young educators to create such an ecosystem where young minds can raise their voice, where they feel heard and seen. Finally, I would like to say that this symposium concluded on a very positive note of hope and optimism. It inspired participants to ask questions. I think they were rightly answered by our resource persons as well. It inspired the participants to move beyond their potential and embrace purpose-driven action. It reinforced the belief that strength of a country lies in its youth. And by investing in our youth today, we are going to shape a more equitable, innovative, and sustainable tomorrow for us. That's all from my side. Thank you so much for giving me this platform.
Thank you, Bhavna, for your words and your kind reporting. Thank you so much. As we all know, an event of scale is incomplete without expressing the words of gratitude towards our resourceful speakers and to all the participants or the members of the CCM India. To formally deliver it, I may invite Dr. Rajeshwari ma'am. Please do honors. Dr. Rajeshwari is the senior most professor of NBKSD College of Education, which is autonomous in the district of Attur of Tamil Nadu. Thank you, ma'am. And the virtual mic is yours now.
Thank you. Distinguished dignitaries, respected leaders of CCEAM, eminent speakers, scholars, and most importantly, the vibrant next generation of leaders joining us from across different time zones and continents. Good day to you all. As we approach the final moments of this monumental international virtual symposium on youth leadership 2026, I am here filled with a deeper sense of fulfillment, intellectual acceleration, and profound gratitude. When CCAM conceptualized this symposium around the theme from potential to purpose, empowering the next generation of leaders, the vision was clear. We didn't want this to be just another webinar. We envisioned a global crucible where ideas would clash, insights would merge, and a definitive roadmap for future governance and educational leadership would emerge. Looking back at the hours we have spent together today, I can confidently say that we have achieved that and so much more. So much more. We have moved beyond the digital screens to touch the very core of what it means to lead in an unpredictable, rapidly changing world. To bring an event of this magnitude to life requires a symphony of dedicated minds. It is now my distinct honor and privilege to propose this comprehensive vote of thanks to the architects of today's success. First and foremost, we must acknowledge the visionary leadership that anchors an international body like CCEAM. I extend our deepest gratitude and highest regards to Professor Hawa Imam, President of CCEAM. Ma'am, you delivered an exceptional inaugural address. Your enduring commitment to fostering educational leadership and your bird's eye view of global educational trends have given this symposium a profound sense of direction. Her words served as a powerful clarion call, challenging us to look beyond conventional leadership metrics and focus on ethical accountability, global citizenship, and structural transformation. Thank you, ma'am. My heartfelt thanks go to Professor Dr. Nilima Bhagwati, ma'am, President of CCEAM, for her incredibly warm, elegant, and intellectually stimulating welcoming address. Dr. Bhagwati, ma'am, you didn't just welcome our guest, you set the emotional and academic tone for the entire day. Your words reminded us of CCAM's rich legacy of nurturing pedagogical and institutional excellence, and your welcome truly made this vast virtual space feel like close-knit global community. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Rajeshwari, for the beautifully
An international symposium is only strong as the substance of its discourses. Today, we were treated to an absolute masterclass of our galaxy of speakers. I must express our deep appreciation to Dr. Vanessa Fernandez, Youth Leadership Chair, CCEAM. Dr. Fernandez, ma'am, your specialized focus on youth dynamics brought a sharp contemporary relevance to our theme. You are beautifully articulated. Please, ma'am, you beautifully articulated the exact mechanisms through which the students or youth potential can be channeled into structural leadership pathways. Thank you, ma'am. We owe a debt of gratitude to Dr. Heathcliff Shamfrey, CCAM Managing Coordinator. Behind every successful global network, there is a core engine working tirelessly. And Dr. Shamfrey, your insight today perfectly mirrored your organizational precision. Thank you for your dedication to the CCAM mission and for sharing your invaluable perspective today. We are also deeply indebted to Dr. Nehal Mayur, International Development Specialist. Dr. Mayur, you brought a crucial macro perspective to the table. By connecting the micro actions of youth leadership to global international development paradigms, sustainable development goals, and cross-border collaborations, you reminded our young participants that they are not just leaders of their local communities, but global citizens with a responsibility toward planetary welfare. So your global outlook was truly enriching. Thank you. Then again, a special word of thanks goes to Dr. Archana Bhattacharjee, Executive Member CCAM. Thank you, ma'am, for your constant support, your valuable presence throughout the sessions, and your contributions behind the scenes in reviewing, structuring, and elevating the academic standard of this symposium. Your expertise remains an invaluable asset to the CCAM family. The true test of a virtual symposium lies in its interactivity, the transition from a monologue to a dialogue. Therefore, I must place on record our sincere appreciation for Ms. Masooda Shah, who so brilliantly moderated the interactive session. Moderating a global panel with diverse viewpoint and handling a flood of questions from a virtual audience is no small feat. Mr. Shah, you handle the session with exceptional poise, intellectual sharpness, and fluid grace. Thank you. And an event of this nature, it requires a narrator who can weave the different segments into a beautiful tapestry. We express our sincere thanks to Ms. Sapna Naik. As our program anchor, she kept the engine high and the transition flawless. Thank you, Sapna, for keeping us all engaged and on track. We also owe a debt of gratitude to our diligent reporter, Bhavana Sharma, whose meticulous documentation has captured the intellectual capital generated here today for future policy advocacy. Thank you. Keep it up. When we gather in the virtual realm, our strongest bridge is technology. I want to extend a massive heartfelt thanks to our technical team, especially Ms. Nausami Devnath. You are the silent, invisible heroes sitting behind the screens, managing the bandwidth, monitoring streams, ensuring smooth audio-visual transitions, and also creating a flawless digital environment. Thank you so much for your vigilance, your swift troubleshooting, and also for keeping our global bridge stable and seamless.
I think Dr. Heath has something to say about a group photograph to put on the CCM website.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
I also have a request. Please you open your video so that I can take few photographs, right?
Yes.
My camera is ready. And I request others also.
One more thing. Finally, to our audience, the educators, the researchers, and above all, the spectacular young minds who joined us today. Thank you for your time, your thought-provoking questions, and your unwavering attention. Again, as you logo from this platform today, remember that the transition from potential to purpose doesn't end with this symposium, it begins here. So go back to your universities, your communities, and your countries and translate this learning into transformative action. Thank you once again to our leaders.
Please, before you sign off, can we take a group picture?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
group picture. We can put it on the CCM
And somebody
website.
you take me from there.
May I kindly ask everyone?
Or I'll be left out.
Yes. May I kindly ask everyone to switch on the video, the camera, and I am going to take a screenshot. So a screenshot of all the screen. Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody, please switch on the cameras for the group photographs.
Yeah. If you do not want to be in the photo, you can keep it switched off. Okay. So I'm taking a photo in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Cheese. Another one. 3, 2, 1. Cheese. Good. Okay.
Oh,
done. Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Thank you, Dr. Rajeshwari. Thank you, Heathcliff sir, thank you, Rajeshwari, for the beautifully articulated words of gratitude. Before we draw the curtains on concluding remarks, I may kindly request our technical team, especially Mosmi, to please play our national anthem and everybody could stand for the absolute reverence.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल वंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभाशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे
Thank you, the technical team and Mosmi for playing the national anthem. Sorry, Nilma ma'am, to interrupt. You were saying something.
No, I didn't say anything. I said you have to declare that it's been over. Okay, you do the declaration.
Now we are on the concluding remarks for the session. As we draw the curtains on this wonderful virtual symposium, I take this final opportunity to offer you all the profound regards and gratitude to the Almighty God for showering us with His grace to execute this virtual symposium seamlessly. I must express my deepest appreciation to the entire organization and the team, and to our incredible virtual audience, and to the resourceful speakers. Your active participation makes CCM India initiatives the thrive. We highly anticipate and welcome your continued enthusiastic participation in all our future programs of CCM India. Thank you once again. Stay safe, stay inspired, and have a wonderful evening ahead. I now finally declare that this international symposium has come to an end. Jai Hind, bye bye, take care all.
Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, it was really wonderful. That is my, the only word I can use. Amazing. Huh? I was just thinking that all the people turns up. Hopefully they turned up, except few. And all the resourceful persons were in time. The president was in time. Everybody in time. So we could also finish up very soon, not soon, in time. That is, it just past 4:30 here in India. 4:30 p.m. past. Okay, so definitely this is the beginning for us. And obviously your guidance, your support, your cooperation, that will help us in future to do more activities for the welfare of the humanity, the welfare of the youths, for the welfare of our children, and for welfare of everybody in this world. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good day.
Thank you, sir.